Wow. Good morning. Wonderful. What a beautiful day it is. I don't know where you are, but where I am, it was raining last night. And I just had this beautiful thought that it's watering my plants for me. What wonderful nature we have. I've got gorgeous plants that I've been planting, all sorts of different things, fruits, strawberries, a little bit of fruit trees. And nature has watered them all for me today. So what a beautiful day it is. How are you guys? Who are you? Where are you coming from? Please say hello in the comments and tell me where you're from, where you're watching from. This is the Total Mind Fitness workout. It's within your reach, guys. Really is. It's within everybody's reach to have total mind fitness. And that's what we're learning here. And what we want to do is to take ourselves from trauma to triumph, from where we are at the moment, what we've lived through in the past, who we are, what our life experiences are, and especially through the last few months of pandemic 2020, which is a traumatic situation for all of us to be in, all the whole world. We're all going through this together. But everybody experiences it differently. And so we're having our own difficulties, our own challenges, our own experiences going through this. And it might be health, anxiety, or actual health difficulties. It could be financial difficulties. It could be family difficulties, relation difficulties. It can be anything. It can be the fact just that we're shielding and that we're not allowed to go out and all sorts of things. Or we might be absolutely fine, but when we go out there and we see everybody with masks on and gloves and sanitizer everywhere and so on, it just begins to get a little bit too much for us. And emotions start to build up, all sorts of emotions. And sometimes they can hijack us and overwhelm us. And what we want to do is to take the situation that we're in now, bit of a traumatic situation, and move it along, move it in the direction of growth, move it in the direction that we can build on and transform our behavior and habits into something that might be more useful for us. So in the meantime, say hello, tell me who you are, where you're coming from, who's watching. We are on here every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 11 o'clock in the morning UK. What are we talking about today? We're talking about resilience building. That's what we're talking about. Resilience building is about learning how to bounce back, learning how to recover, that ability to recover from whatever we're going through. But in addition to that, maintaining a certain functional mental ability, the ability to function under the new circumstances that we're in. So that's what we're talking about today. Let's go for it. It's Total Mind Fitness within your reach. All right, so let's get to it. Basically, what we want to ask is, when life doesn't go the way that we want it, right? Are we able to pick ourselves up pretty quickly and adapt to the new circumstances? Well, I can tell you that I used to be a person that was very difficult. That was very difficult indeed to be able to do. And it doesn't come naturally. We have our own life experiences. We have things that we do. We have learnings that we go through since the day we were born. And depending on our personal circumstances, sometimes we go through situations where it kind of erodes that emotional resilience that we have. But what we need to say from the very outset is, generally speaking, human beings are actually very, very resilient. we get through a lot. Look, we're still around. We're still here. All right. So it's not all doom and gloom, right? So we have to remember that our baseline is pretty good. All right. What we want to do is just to kind of top it up and strengthen that resilience so that when we go through really unexpected situations, we're going to be able to bounce back or at least cope with it in a much more useful way, a much more adaptive way. And we want to actually look for those opportunities of growth within the experiences that we have. Even the pandemic 2020, there are opportunities for growth. All right. So it's just about taking the time, self-reflection, understanding who we are, and getting that, identifying these opportunities for growth. So Vicky Kelly is in the house from Cork in Ireland. Woohoo! And fantastic. I think, if I'm not, oh yeah, we've had Ireland before with, but not on here, not on this, within your reach. So wonderful, beautiful. Oh, one of my dreams to go to Cork in Ireland. Maybe it will happen one day soon. So thanks for coming in. Don't forget to share, like, and tag, and tell us what's going on in Cork and Ireland. Oh, I'd love to know what's going on there. What we are talking about here is opportunities for growth, especially during those times. And what we learned yesterday was that, a couple of the things that we, can help us strengthen that inner resilience. And that's what we're trying to do in the T.R.I.U.M.P.H system, is taking the resilience that we already have that's inbuilt, but trying to strengthen it. Just like going to the gym, exercises for strengthening that resilience muscle that we have inside us. And the reason for that is, well, first of all, there's everyday stresses and distresses, aren't there? So we want to be able to go through the regular day with the ups and downs and bumps that we have, with much better ease. But also there are these kind of larger unexpected events that can happen. It can be a health event. It can be a relationship event. It can be a financial event that just is unexpected and kind of knocks us, right? It can knock us off our feet at the outset. And that can be like, whoa, what's just happened to me right now? So the more resilience muscle, if you like, using a metaphor, is stronger, the better we're going to be able to ride that wave, right? Ride that wave. And what we find is that we're basically a lot of the time talking about our emotions. Our emotions immediately hijack us. And when our emotions hijack us at that immediate moment that the event happens, or if it's over a longer time, it builds and starts to hijack us, pulls us in, sucks us right into that emotional side of our brain, that limbic system, that amygdala is really, really hijacking us. What we find is that our whole thinking system starts to break down, close down, and we have difficulties, problem solving. We have difficulties, making decisions. We have difficulties understanding exactly what's going on. Sometimes we can start to get a little bit confused. These are all natural responses when our emotional system in our brain starts to hijack us. And what we want to do is to be able to switch that off when appropriate, and bring back on our cognitive system, back on our executive system in our brain, which we can start deciding and choosing what we want in our life to make it higher quality, to make it better, to make it more useful, to make it more functional. That is what it's all about. And what we discussed yesterday was, the few skills that we can do on a daily basis that can help strengthen that. Now, there are soft skills. Yeah, we're not talking about doing, a neurological operation here. right? We have to build, our brain works on images, our brain works in language, our brain works on repeating again and again and again. We learn this from little children, how they repeat again and again and again the same story. I want the same story, the same story, the same story. You just finish the book with them, they want it again. Finish the book with them, I want it again, again, again. That's how we learn, right? We learn by repeating and repeating. Now, if we're repeating behaviors that are now not relevant for us or not useful for us, that can get us into trouble. It can get in the way of us having a quality life. And if you go back in previous videos, you'll be able to see how we can transform our behaviors and our habits into ones that are more useful for us. Now, I'm not going to tell you which ones are going to be useful for you. That's for you to find out. I need to empower you to do your own discovery, to bring out your own curiosity and your own sense of adventure, to find out who you are and what your world is about and what your life is about. That's a wonderful journey to go on. It's not for me to dictate to you how to do that. But what I can do is teach you from my experience, my learning, what my mentors and teachers have taught me, and pass that on to you. And one of the things that we can do is have gratitude, a daily gratitude. The gratitude doesn't have to be a whole meditation thing. We're not turning into Zen Buddhists and going up into mountains and things like that. No, we're talking about, don't be frightened of the word gratitude. It can have a massive impact on our psychological and emotional health. And that's just being thankful for, I'm talking about really basic little things, right? It's about being thankful for whatever you have, right? So if you have a roof over your head, if you have clothes on your back, if you have, nice teeth, whatever it is, right? If you have, a skill that you've got, if you've got nice people around you, I've worked with people that have had, you would think they've got nothing in their life, nothing, no family, no money, no mental health, really, no physical health, full of disease. Nobody wants them, nobody speaks to them. These are the people that you walk to on the other side of the street rather than meet these people. And these people are, locked in hospitals for many years. And I sat with these people and asked them, is there anything in the world that you can have gratitude for? And the answer was yes, right? And everybody came up with their own thing, even if it was just having a cigarette in their pocket, even if it was just, having a cup of coffee in their hand that the hospital had given them. It doesn't matter. It's not the issue of the material value. It's the issue of how you can express gratitude for anything that you have in your life. That's the first thing. It's a switch in outlook. It's a switch in attitude. And this is a practice. It's not easy. Our brain will sweep us into the moan and groan, state. And we have to be very careful with the moan and groan state, because that can take us down a slippery slope into sadness and all sorts of other emotions, which, if we haven't practiced how to engage with these emotions, then, that can be difficult for us. The next thing we learned yesterday was how to behave like the person you want to become. And, this is not a fake it till you make it thing. This is about being real, being authentic, but it's about getting in touch with the kind of person that you actually really want to be. Right? Now, the problem that sometimes comes up with that is people say, okay, I want to be like this kind of person, but the situation's not right. I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm anxious, I'm poor, I'm lonely, whatever it is. And so when all these things are fixed, then I can behave in the way that I'd love to behave. Right? So this is a classic mistake. Because the obvious first answer is, well, what happens if, these things that you're talking about never get fixed, right? Because everybody wants fixed lives, right? So if these things never get fixed, that means you will never be able to be the person you want to become. Now, that's really, really sad. What a missed opportunity. So how about acting in the way that you would like to become? If you like to become a curious person, start being curious. If you like to become an adventurous person, be adventurous. If you'd like to be a loving and kind and caring person, you can be a loving, kind and caring person right now, right this very minute. You don't have to wait until all your circumstances, all the ducks are lined up, as they say. Sitting in your chair right now, even watching me, you can begin to develop that intention to be what kind of person that you want to be. Okay, so let's see who's coming in. So Adam Layton's coming in saying, thank you for this program. Wonderful. Great to see you. Thank you. Brilliant. You're in the house. Adam, tell us what's going on in your life. So it's about behaving like the person you'd like to be. And you can do that without anything, right? You can just even start with the intention. And that will bring that outlook, will bring your behavior in line with what's important to you. And that is exceptionally important when we're talking about emotional regulation. Now, what we want to try and do is regulate those emotions and understand, first of all, what these emotions are trying to tell us. What are these emotions, right? There's a certain inner communication and wisdom within all our emotions, right? And once we befriend our emotions and understand that they're not there to hurt us, even if they're very uncomfortable, they're not. The purpose of these emotions are not to hurt us. The purpose of these emotions are to help us, are to move us. These are emotions from the word movement, motion. And so they're a messaging service that want to try and give us a message for us to move, to change, to go in a certain direction. Now, it's like having fuel in your petrol tank in the car. It will definitely help you move, right? But where you want to move to is up to the driver. Okay, so we need to clarify what's important in our lives. We need to clarify what matters to in our life, what kind of person we want to be. Back to this, behave like the person you want to be. And your emotions will help guide you. Are you on that path? Are you not on that path? All right. So what we want to ask ourselves is, if our emotions could talk to us, right? So we can have joyful emotions, sad emotions, angry emotions. We can have disgusting emotions. We can have emotions of all sorts of emotions that are going to move us in a uncomfortable way, and we can have pleasant emotions, right? Plenty different types of emotions. And what we want to ask ourselves is, if our emotions could talk, right, and offer us advice, what would they be trying to tell us? If we're angry, what is the value? What is the wisdom within that anger? If we're sad, what is the sadness trying to tell us? If we're feeling joyful, what is the joy trying to tell us? Okay, so it's really important that we're not frightened of these emotions. They can be scary, they can be uncomfortable, they can express themselves in all sorts of body sensations. But if we try to run away from them or ignore them, more than most, they're going to come back and be louder and louder and say, look, listen to me. I'm going to try and tell you some words of wisdom here. So what are your emotions trying to tell you? Now, one of the things to be able to understand this is to actually sit with your emotions, make room for your emotions, make space for your emotions. And that takes practice. It's not easy. I know that I sometimes have these emotions of sadness. Sometimes I have the feeling of anxiety in my tummy area. It took me a long time to be able to just sit with that. One of the ways is just to put your hand on that place on your body that you're feeling it. Just take that breath and just kind of make room for whatever's showing up. Just make room for whatever emotion that you can identify. Now, it's not obvious that, if I had joyful emotions, it would all be great. Some people have difficulty even experiencing joy. So let's not judge what emotions we're having. They're there as part of our system. They're there as part of us. They have communication and wisdom in our emotion. So let's just put our hand where we feel it. And it can be uncomfortable. But let's try it and just make space for it, even just for a few moments. And as we do this, try and ask ourselves, what advice is our emotion offering us? We don't have to take it, but it's offering us some sort of message. What is it asking us to do? And then when we want to find out if this is useful for us or not, we can ask ourselves, is this message going to take me towards the kind of life that I would like to live? Or is this going to take me away from the kind of life that I want to live? Okay. And one of the ways that we can kind of understand this even better is to ask ourselves, what is the emotion saying about what I care about? Okay. So even if I'm angry, what is it I'm angry about? That kind of signals to me what I really care about. Because if I didn't care about it, I might not get angry about it at all. What does it signal to me that matters to me, that's important to me? What's the emotion telling me about the kind of person that I want to be? What's the emotion telling me about what needs changing in my life? These emotions, they're very intuitive, and there's one thing: we can fool the whole world, but we can't fool ourselves, and our brain knows what's going on very well. So what is our behavior? In what way do we behave that might not be in our best interests right now? In what way are we behaving that might not be the most useful way for us to behave right now? And what way are we behaving that's not really serving the way that we would like to live, the kind of person we want to be? Whether that's the kind of person we want to be with the relationships in our life, those who are important and that we love around us, whether it's our family or friend, an intimate partner. What needs changing in the way that we behave towards ourselves and others? Our emotions can hold a lot of these answers. We can ask ourselves, what are emotions trying to tell us that we need to do differently? What do we need to start doing that we're not doing at the moment? What do we need to stop doing that we're doing at the moment? What do we need to do more of or less of? How do we need to treat ourselves differently? How do we need to treat others differently? Our emotions will tell us these answers. if we just learn to sit with them and listen to them and make room for them. So many times we want to just get rid of our emotions because they don't feel comfortable. Oh, I wish I didn't feel so sad. But sadness can sometimes be very appropriate when there's a feeling of loss. We've lost some health. We've lost a person that's important to us. We've lost a relationship that we valued. We lost, work that we were doing. We lost a way of life that we were experiencing and enjoyed. Lost some money, whatever it is. When we have a feeling of loss, our emotion is sadness. And one of the things that happens when we're sad is our body slows down. And that slowing down is deliberate. It's basically our physiology linking with our neurology and our psychology and saying, okay, let's slow down and take stock of what's going on. You've experienced a loss. And so let's process that loss. And we've all experienced loss in the last few months. Some have experienced loss of freedom, loss of stability, loss of routine. Maybe some of us have experienced loss of loved ones, loss of jobs and work, loss of doing the things that you used to love doing. And maybe you're feeling sad. So let's get in touch with that sadness. On the other hand, you might be feeling joy. You might be feeling joy and you might be saying, oh, wow, I've got gratitude that I have my friends and family. I have gratitude that I have I can walk and I can go outside and I can enjoy what I have and the beautiful weather or whatever. And we can get in touch with that feeling of joy. So many times we dwell on the emotions that are uncomfortable, but we pass over the pleasurable ones very quickly. Right? We can, how was last week for you? Oh, it was miserable. It was this, it was that, it was terrible. We get into moan and groan mode, and all we see is darkness. But did anything happen that was joyful or pleasant? Oh, well, now you come to mention it. Yeah, there was this, there was that. But we're so quick to pass over that, to take it for granted. So quick to just get on to the next doom and gloom. So what we want to do is to be asking ourselves, what is our emotions trying to tell us? Sit with them just like we're doing now. Let them express themselves in our bodies. And try to understand, are they telling me something that will improve my life? And so therefore I can make that change? Or is it something that is not going to improve my life and therefore maybe I should stop doing that? So what we did was to understand the impact of gratitude and to behaving like the person we want to become, and understanding and making room for our emotions. Okay, wonderful. Great having you here on its Total Mind Fitness Wellbeing Workout. It is within your reach. We can grow in these circumstances. We can grow in the kind of world we live in now. It's about practice. It's about doing it again and again. See you tomorrow with some more. It's within your reach, from trauma to triumph. Take care. Bye for now.